Okay, so we are making the Patchwork Chore Coat by Patchwork and Poodles. We are going to make the hooded version, which looks like this. And I will show you kind of how I'm starting this project. So first things first, so I'm not going to do a patchwork version. I'm just going to do one big quilted panel. So here are my fabrics. So this Tula Pink one is going to be my background or my lining. And then this Kaffe is going to be like the main focus of my my coat. So yeah, so the first step is I am going to long arm these pieces because that's pretty much the easiest way for me to do it, considering I have a long arm. And so I wanted to kind of give you guys a little heads up. So I printed out the pattern. First thing you do is you read through all the instructions and see what you need to do. And then you need to actually print the pattern. Most patterns come with this test. So what I usually do is I print whatever sheet has the test on it to make sure that my printer is set up correctly. Then I'll pull out a ruler and make sure that, yes, it is 1 inch. So this is printed in the scale that it needs to be. So that's good. Then I went ahead and measured myself. And so I could figure out what size I'm making. Now, I'm a bigger gal, but I don't really have a chest. So I am going to make the extra large size and we'll just see kind of how that goes. So here are my two fabrics. Now, as I said, I own a long arm. So I am going to use scrap batting. So this is just a tub full of batting that I have cut off of quilts. And I am going to do what I call franken batting. So first I kind of need to figure out what size piece I need, figure out what size pieces I have. My best recommendation for franken batting is make sure that you are using the same batting. So luckily, you know, I use the same batting for quilting, all my quilts. So this is all the same type of batting. But for example, I think I have a piece, I do. I have some pieces of foam in here. Pretend this is like a different type of batting. Like I wouldn't, you know, franken bat this foam, you know, with this batting, but this is all the same type of batting. And I'll show you kind of how I do that, but I'm going to figure out what size I need. Then I'm going to figure out what I have. And yeah, we're going to get this coat together and it's going to be super cute. So follow along. So the first thing that I like to do when I'm long arming a quilt is to pick some thread. So we'll start off with the lining. Now the lining is pretty simple, and I apologize if you can hear the laundry in the background, but so these are two colors of bobbins that I have. So this is white and this is gray. And what I like to do is I like to just lay the thread over the fabric. My long arm has these really nice lights, which illuminate things pretty well. And so looking at these, I think I'm going to do the white. I think it blends in kind of with this white a little better. So we will do that. And then picking thread color for the top. So I pulled kind of 4 options, and then again, I lay them out. So this one, I think I'm immediately going to eliminate because it's way too light. So sorry, pale mist, not today. All right, so then let's look at the others. So these are gonna be kind of hard to see, and I apologize. So here's our purple. This is the teal that I pulled, which I think definitely blends. And then this was another purple, which as you can see blends really well into like this flower, but then is kind of contrasting with the teal. And looking at the piece as a whole, I think there's way more teal than there is purple. So I think I am going to go with the teal for this one, though I think the 2 purple options I think would also be good. So let's take those guys off. And so our winner chicken dinner is Sprout, which is totally fitting because of course, you know, we got these big succulent flowers. So Sprout it is. So I'm going to set up the camera so that you guys can see me loading up the long arm. So this is what I mean by franken batting. So this is 2 pieces of batting that I just held together at the machine and then zigzag stitched it, as you can see here. So what this allows me to do is to take my leftover pieces of batting and just stitch them together. And trust me, I've done this on quilts. I've never made a coat before, but I'm sure this will be fine on the quilt. You will never notice it in the finished product. So yeah, you just sew this. I would obviously, like for my long arming business, I would never do this on a customer's quilt, but I save, you know, any big cuts of batting because, you know, like this is a ton of batting and this is all just left over, you know, from quilts. So, you know, you might as well save it, and then I sew it together to make an even bigger piece. And so, yeah, so we got our backing all loaded. Looks great. And so then we'll get I'll put the batting under there, then I'll get the top under there, and then we will set Millie up. you can probably hear Millie in the background. So the next step is to make the bias binding while that's going. So first I am going to iron this crease out, and then we are going to make some bias binding. So to make bias binding, first what you need to do is fold your fabric, make a right angle, as you can see. So what I did is I just folded the fabric up, and what I'll do is I'll iron this to make a 90-degree angle. Then what you're going to do, once you have your seam ironed all nice, okay, so pretend this is all ironed and nice, right? Then you'll take your ruler and you'll line it up with that seam, making sure, you know, that you have a straight line on this seam, and then you'll just cut your strips that way. So then you have your nice bias. So I'll do a time lapse for that, but first I will iron this seam all nice and pretty, and then we'll cut our strips and sew them together. Okay, so I got all the pieces cut out and I thought we would just review them. So first up, we got our two pockets. Kind of fussy cut the big flower on those. And then we have the hood. And again, there's two pieces done on the inverse, but that one. And then we have the sleeve, two of those. We have the front, two of these. Then we have the hood center, which you only need one. And then we have the back, which is cut on a fold. So it's one piece, but it's folded in half. And then of course, our fun corn binding. So I'm gonna set up the camera and we're gonna sew this. I thought I'd kind of give you guys an update as to where I am with my coat. So I got the body together. Oop. Well, okay. I just realized that I never closed up that binding, so I gotta do that. I did the other side though. Yep. Oops. Way to go, Rachel. Okay, well, I gotta close up this binding on this side. But otherwise, we got ourselves a nice little vest, a hooded vest, if you will. She's looking really nice. I got the hood completely bound and put together. It looks really nice and top bound. I'm thinking for fun, I might stick a tag right here, but I haven't quite decided yet. I need to go through my tags and see if I have anything that would look really cute. I can just unpick and then, you know, stitch that back in. So yeah, we got ourselves a really, you know, fancy vest. And then I have the sleeves. So I got the sleeves stitched together and then the binding. I actually hand stitched the binding down because there was no way I could get this through my machine. Now I could have done traditional binding and done it on my machine, but then it wouldn't lay flat like this. And this is the way the pattern has you do it. And they even warn you, like, you might have to hand stitch that. So yeah, I got, you know, of course, a bit of a mess going on, but that's, you know, your typical crafting. So next I need to attach the sleeves to my vest and we'll keep going. All right, you guys, look at that. So I have attached both the sleeves. I did the binding around the cuffs. I did binding all the way around the jacket. I added the pockets. I did the pockets a little bit different than what she has in the pattern. I decided instead of cutting a lining piece and flipping it out, I would just bind the pocket and then just sew it on because I already had this piece cut. So I figured, and I had extra binding. So I was like, well, I'll just bind them. I think that adds a little bit of flair. And then I did decide to add a tag at the top. It says, "You look really pretty today." I thought that was kind of fun. So next up is the closure. So the pattern has buttons, but I don't have buttons and I would like to finish this today. So I think I'm just going to use cam snaps. So I pulled out all the different kind of bluey teals to kind of see what color that I wanted to go with. Immediately, I think I'm going to eliminate the navy. I just think it's too dark. So chuck that one out. I think this one's too light. Chuck that out. The teal, I think, is my favorite. Again, I think this one is just too light. So of these three, initially I was thinking the blue could be fun. Blue matches kind of the binding more. And I don't think, not the right blue. Oh, let's see. So we could either go blue, which I think matches the binding, or teal, which is, I mean, the overall kind of feel is teal. But I think because of the binding and just, I don't know, I think I'm going to go with the blue. All right, let's add the snaps and then our coat is done.